Vikings at the Bye.
And now, on a very special Good Morning Gjallarhorn. Yes, I think we got it.
What'd you just say? I was watching football.
And so the bartender says, wrecked him, damn near killed him.
Gjallarhorn. We're back with a special guest, Mr. Christopher Gates from Daily Norseman. You have Chris, Drew, and Ted joining us for tonight's show. And it is bye week for the Minnesota Vikings. That's right, bye week. And what do you do on bye week? I know what I do. It involves a lot of this. Yeah, baby.
Dude, know what I on days that ended Y, for God's sake.
Which is different from every other week.
That's right.
You don't want to know what I do, believe me.
We probably don't.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
This is not the first time you've been on the show, Chris, but we want to welcome you back again. How are you doing?
I am doing well, folks. I am happy to be back. Had a great time on draft night, picking Drew Lock to get selected like 18 times in a row, and having him not get selected until day 2. But, yeah, that was pretty great. This is a really fun show, so I'm happy y'all are having me back.
Well, are you aware that is our most watched show ever?
I'm sure. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say that correlation and causation are the same thing there, but I'm on the show, and we get what kids would refer to as the hits with the Z at the end.
Right.
Oh, here we go.
Let me see that shirt. Get up for a sec. I want to see the shirt. What is it? Skull?
It's the Skull Train.
Oh, that's bitchin'. I want one of
That's a cool
those.
shirt. Where'd you get that?
We were selling them on the in the Daily Norseman store there for a while.
Got one?
Yeah, I think we might still have them. I'll have to shoot out a link to you guys here eventually.
You know we love trivia on this show.
Include it below and then.
So we're going to give you the first trivia. Who hosted Soul Train?
Oh, Don Cornelius.
He got the first one. He's on a roll, baby. Good man.
How you doing tonight, Drew?
Meow, meow. I'm doing good. I'm on the flip-flop later. Doing good. The Vikings are 8-3. Heading into a bye week, get some guys healthy. Did you know the Vikings have the least amount of guys on IR of all the teams in the league?
No.
They only have 2 guys on IR. I heard that last night.
He's something wooden to knock on. No.
Yeah, we need some.
No, there's still football this weekend, but the Vikings will. I'm pretty stoked because of this. Going into Seattle in whatever 12 days or whatever, we're going to be going into Seattle tied for first with a chance to take over first place because the Niners are going to beat that team from Wisconsin. We'll be all tied up.
Sweet.
So I'm pretty stoked.
From your lips to the football god's mouth. Ted, how are you doing?
Gentlemen? No, actually my neck hurts this week. I was telling you guys before. No, if I was any better, I'd be against the law. Let's go. Let's light this candle.
That's what we want to hear. We don't want excuses about your friggin' neck.
Speaking of light this candle, Chris, you do weather for Air Force space launches, do you not?
Nominally, yes.
Well, hey, that's pretty cool.
You do some weather.
So, like, who do you give the weather forecast to? Like the dude that pushes the button? Because there ain't no pilots on those rockets.
Hey, you don't know that.
I do know that.
You don't know that.
There's no pilots on those. Get out of here.
It's classified.
Yeah, you're damn right. There you go. It's classified. Yeah.
Space weather. So what's going to be like in space? Dark and cold. There's your brief.
And nobody can hear you scream. Yeah. Which is great because all we weather people get is screaming from everybody all the time. They're pissed off just perpetually. It's really kind of bad. But yeah, no. not a bad gig. I can handle this.
I'll bet.
Yes.
We are here to talk the state of the Vikings. We are on our bye week. The team is 8-3. What do you think of the team so far there, Chris?
I think that this team has all the ability. We've seen a lot of I don't know if change is the right word. We've seen this team evolve over the past 11 weeks because we had the week 1 game where we threw the football 10 times and still managed to win, and now we're to the point where we've got good old number 8 just tossing it all over the yard pretty much, and the offensive line has had its ups and downs, but it's been significantly better than it's been. And now, in a little bit of a weird twist, we got to wait for the defense to catch up a little bit, which is kind of, I don't know. I don't think anybody would have seen that coming at the beginning of the year. That's for sure.
Well, do you think part of the defensive regression, if you want to call it that, is the new rules when it comes to pass coverage, i.e. the pass interference rules and the idiocy that revolves around those?
I don't know if that's really the case. I mean, a lot of those rules have been in place for a few years, and guys were doing just fine in 2017 and 2018, and now we have guys that are just out there getting whooped every week. I mean, Xavier Rhodes looks like he's aged about 10 years, and Trae Waynes is having his issues. For all the first and second round picks this team has in the secondary, it should not be this much of a struggle every week. But that's what it's turned out to be, even with, I think I saw it from somewhere that Danielle Hunter and Everson Griffin are 1 and 2 in the NFL in quarterback pressures so far. So the pass rush has been there, but the secondary is just not holding up its end of the bargain thus far.
Well, the outside pass rush is there. There's been some dispute over the interior pressure. And with the outside, if it just comes from the outside, quarterbacks step up.
Yep.
So we'll see. Drew, what do you think at the bye week point? How we look?
There's still a lot of inconsistency. I mean, you could look at that Bronco game from one half to the other. I mean, that's not a very consistent football game, which is very concerning. But they're in a good position right now. They have a 2-game lead over they have a pretty nice little cushion there between the wild card and the other teams that are following them. But I think what it comes down to this year is the NFC is just loaded with good teams. And it's going to make a big difference this year if you got to go on the road and beat 3 teams in the playoffs. I think they still have a shot at the division. They had a great shot at the division still. Cousins is playing great. You can't really – I mean, he catches a lot of shit for this team, and he always has, but he's kind of silenced a lot of the doubters in my mind. And the Vikings won a game last week when they only rushed for 37 yards, and up till now, if we don't rush, we don't win usually. The Soldier Field game. The Vikings have a lot of talent. Defensively, I am concerned because we've dropped all the way down to 15th overall, but this game, we got 2 games left on our schedule, guys. Let me talk. I thought about this today when I was doing my walk here. If there's 2 teams the Vikings really got to beat that have been owning us, it's the Bears and the Seahawks. I mean, not only beating us, every time we play Seattle, we get bullied right off the field. So this is going to be a good test for them to come in. If this Seattle game, if the Vikings win this game, it'll raise the eyebrows on my head to think this team possibly has a chance to win it all. And they will take care of a lot of the consistency problems I think they have. But this is the Bears and the Seahawks. We owe them a beatdown each. And I'd like to see the Vikings just pick up the consistency a little bit more and start the game better. They have such a hard time starting games, and it puts them in a hole. But 8-3, I mean, it could be a lot worse, guys. So I'm thinking pretty good. Get yourself healthy this week, and head off into Seattle. But I don't know how strong any of us feel about how Seattle going into Seattle and winning that game. But
Ted, what do you think they're doing this weekend as a team?
I would hope just kind of getting away from football for the weekend, come back Monday and Tuesday, just take a few days off. Just, recharge, kind of enjoy the bye, enjoy going into the bye with that win, and come back focused, ready to go to Seattle on Monday night and play a good football game. I'm kind of, you guys really have hit all the points. So as if I could just piggyback, I won't do that.
For Christ's sake.
No, I was thinking about that Denver game, and I think in a lot of ways it was sort of the Vikings season in a microcosm. I mean, they started off the season really uneven to poor, and they had that debacle in Chicago, and then they just sort of went on a tear, and they looked unbeatable. And it was sort of, it's a tale of two football teams. I mean, they're either really good or really bad. And if the really good Vikings football team shows up, I agree with Drew. I might give a serious thought as to whether or not they can win the whole thing. Because when they're playing well, like they did in that second half against Denver, they can beat anybody. When they play like they do against Dallas on Sunday night, they can beat anybody. But if they play like they do against the Bears, they can't beat anybody. So which team comes ready to play for the rest of the games? Because the NFC is tough, and I think 10-6. A couple weeks ago, I said I didn't think 10-6 would do it, but with the way the last couple weeks have broken, with the Carolina's pretty much out of it now, I think, and it comes down to the Rams, who I believe are 6-4. How I feel about this team going forward is how they play against Seattle. I agree they don't play well in Seattle. If they can play well in Seattle and come out of there with a win, I'm going to have a completely different approach to this team. I still think it's a great season. Don't get me wrong, but there's still but prove something to me. And they've slowly but surely done those things, but now really prove something to me. I mean, really go out and prove something to me. And I want them to, and they're very capable of doing it.
And that was my take, is that this team has enough talent and has, especially after last week, built up enough confidence. And as Chris said, they've developed, right? They've grown as the season has gone on. The offensive line has gotten better. It's gelled. It's developed chemistry. They may only be a mediocre offensive line, but it's a lot better than what we had last year. And
I would argue they're better than mediocre, but that's just me.
Well, and we can win with that, especially with the skill position players we have that are just absolutely outstanding. We'll get back, hopefully Adam Thielen will be healthy. So that just adds to it. They could, if they take that confidence and they take this growth, they could go into the last 5 games of the season and really make some noise. And I do believe they can win the division. Now, it's going to take, like Drew said, have some team knock off that team from Wisconsin. Hopefully that happens this weekend, so we get that parity. And then just not, screw it up, be it coming out flat or doing the tale of two sides, the worst team or the best team. As long as they come out with the best team, this team can go a long way. I was just looking at present Las Vegas odds for the NFC teams to reach the Super Bowl, and the Vikings are 4th in Vegas out of the NFC teams. So
behind New Orleans, San Francisco, and Green Bay?
Packers, Saints, and Niners.
Yeah, they're better than Green Bay, but whatever.
I think so.
They are.
Let me throw this out here, and you guys can tell me, what is the problem with the inconsistency? Let's take the Bronco game. Chris, what the hell is going on with this team?
I'm not gonna lie. I think they were just completely looking past this Denver football team. And, they came in as a double-digit favorite, sure, but, you can't do that in the NFL. I mean, they saw that last year when Buffalo came in as like a 17-point underdog and just put a beat down on them for 4 quarters. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's Zimmer. I don't know what the thing is with, showing up and basically taking the first quarter or the first half off, but somebody needs to fix it. And it needs to get fixed quickly because, as like everyone said, if you get into the playoffs against good teams, you can't get down 20-0 at halftime because you will lose 40-0.
Sure.
And yeah, that's the comeback that we saw against Denver isn't happening in the playoffs. So they need to fix it.
It's not happening in Seattle either, let me tell you.
No.
Now, they've dominated this year against bad defenses. No defense in the playoffs is going to be bad.
You go from that Cowboys game that we all watched to that first half against the Broncos, and I'm sitting here and I'm just looking at it going, what in the hell are we doing?
Yeah, I was too.
It looked like they weren't prepared. There was no game plan prepared. There's no aggressive play. It's astonishing to me.
It was 2 completely different football teams, I thought, between the first half and the second half. It was like different guys wearing the same jerseys.
Amazing. I know a lot of things are just football. You can call it a football thing. A lot of times something happens, you just say, my uncle used to say, you know what, kid, that's just a football thing. And I get that. But when you're having 4 or 5 drives where you just can't even get a first down, incomplete passes, guys running the wrong route, guys not blocking, it just makes it's concerning to me.
Can I ask a question for the group real quick?
Meow.
What? And Chris, since you're the fearless leader of the Daily Norseman, you can answer first.
Nice.
What would you guys? So we've all described how we think about the Vikings moving forward after the Denver game. Would your feelings be the same or different if they had ended up losing that Denver game? How would you feel about the Vikings had they not beaten Denver and we're now 7-4?
I think the feelings would definitely be different because you're going into a bye week, just having gotten stomped by a team that you were a double-digit favorite against. The fan base would have been gloom and doom at this, but they're gloom and doom after we win half the time, for crying out loud. I mean,
Totally.
It's just. I think the perception would have been a lot different. I mean, yeah, you're 7-4. Yeah, you're still in control of a wild card spot, but like you said, now we have a 2-game lead over pretty much everyone in the wild card race. I think I saw somewhere that the Vikings' odds of making the playoffs at this point are in the low 90% range. So
that'd be me. That'd be my post.
Yes,
Just saying.
that was in fact.
Good job, Ted.
Yes. So basically, they have to really, really screw it up now in order to not make it. And I mean, if there's one franchise that's capable of really, really screwing it up, it's the Minnesota Vikings because we've seen that before.
Tread lightly.
But the difference in that regard between 8-3 and 7-4 is pretty huge because if you're 7-4 and the Rams win during the bye week here, all of a sudden you're tied with the Rams. And, now even if the Rams win, you're still ahead of them in the wild card chase. And I haven't looked at the Rams' schedule, but I'm pretty sure they have to play the Niners at least once more. I think they have at least one more game against Seattle.
Yeah.
And I would assume they have a tougher schedule than the Vikings do down the stretch. So, yeah, it is a significant difference.
Drew, what would you be thinking?
Let me tell you what, Chris Gates would be washing his car with that shirt right now if we lost to the Broncos. That would have been a loss that crippled us the whole year because it would have stuck with us mentally.
Yep.
And I know, I don't get all of that voodoo mental stuff, but sometimes I do. That game would have been guys looking at each other the rest of the season. The fact that they came back and got it done, we dodged a huge bullet as far as I'm concerned. Huge.
Dave?
And it wouldn't have been the same. There would be so much gloom. It would be,
as far as the Rams schedule, they played the Cardinals this weekend, then Seattle, and then at the Cowboys, at the Niners, and then back to the Cardinals. They're going at the Cardinals again. And the Cardinals aren't that bad. Cardinals are bad.
That's maybe 9-17.
Yeah, that's a tough schedule. Now
the Niners have a brutal schedule. Have you seen what they got? Oh, man.
Well, and like I heard today, the Niners play the team from Wisconsin. Both of those teams have won a lot, but they haven't really played a whole lot of quality teams. So whichever loses may be
like we
the
have
narrative,
the Giants, Denver.
Yeah, maybe the narrative that, hey, they haven't played anybody, they're frauds. Hopefully that's the team from Wisconsin. So, but who knows?
We'll see.
If there's any year, you guys, to get that one of those first round buys, this is the year with the way the NFC's playing out. And I was thinking maybe Ted we were talking a couple weeks ago about how we have no chance at that. I mean, Chris, what do you think? Do we still have a chance at one of those buys, or are they long gone?
I think it's a long shot, but I think there's still a chance at it. I mean, obviously, first you got to get past Green Bay to get on top of the division. But you have to think about New Orleans. They play the NFC South. Everyone outside of New Orleans in the NFC South is awful, so that helps their case. And whoever wins the NFC West, whether it's Seattle or whether it's San Francisco, they're probably going to be 12-4, 13-3, something like that. So you got to figure that you probably have to get 12 wins to even be in the conversation for a bye, which means that the Vikings got to go 4-1 the rest of the way, which they're capable of doing. But yeah, there's a chance, but I don't know if it's a great chance at this point.
Yeah, 4-1 the rest of the way. That's a tough haul right now.
Yep.
If one of those teams, I don't feel good about that Seattle game, guys. I don't. So basically, run the table after. I don't want to sound like I think we can go in there and win, but it has to be a perfect game.
If they run the table, they should win the division, and that should earn them one of those seats.
If they run
the table, that's 5 more wins.
Well, that first round bye is huge, man. Mm-hmm. One less game to play.
And a game played in U.S. Bank is huge.
If nothing else, just a home playoff game. Just win the NFC North, and if they can't get a first round bye, even a home playoff game would be a big deal. Because if you're a wild card, if you're the 5 or 6 seed, unless one of the other wild card teams win, and Vikings right now are a 6 seed. Now, if they beat Seattle, they pass them and go to the 5 seed. But you're talking probably 3 really tough playoff road games, and that's
a lot to ask.
I mean, there's a reason only I think maybe 3 have won the Super Bowl as a wild card. That's an awful tough road to hoe to get all the way through. I mean,
if you're the 6th seed as of now, I think your road to the playoffs is at New Orleans, at San Francisco, at Green Bay. That would be amazingly difficult to go through.
We can call that the gauntlet, can't we?
It definitely would be. Yeah.
It would be. Speaking of games, Drew, you have a special game tonight for this show because we have Chris with us. What's he tell us?
It's just rapid fire 6-question $20,000 pyramid. I can't remember.
Is there actual money involved?
There's $20,000 involved. So you better guess this within a minute. That's what the guest is on for. He fronts the money. So whoever wants it, you
got the wrong damn guest on this show. You're expecting $20,000.
I thought, you guys can work in unison together, or I could just ask the question to one of you, however you guys want to do it. But I just put these questions together real quick, and it's kind of a fun thing. Remember the $20,000 pyramid with the, you remember? Yeah. Betty White was on every week, and they have to guess, and they have the clues. Yeah. I'll give you clues, and then you tell me what I'm talking about. Well, I put these questions together, and
let's go, Dick Clark.
Here we go. The timer will start. Dave, you got the timing?
I got the timer ready.
Chris, if you know the answer, just shout it out.
Dave's
we'll
timer.
tag team this and shout it out if we know the answer.
Right. Yeah,
Here we go. The first question, the timer will start after I read the first question. Or give you the first clue. Here we go. I just sit around all day waiting for footballs to fly through me.
Xavier Rhodes.
Xavier Rhodes.
Every once in a while, a football will doink off myself.
Goalpost.
And
Goalpost.
I usually sit here by myself. Yes! Yes! Okay. Next one. Chris Carter. Robert Smith.
1998 Vikings.
Corey Stringer.
Ohio State Vikings Buckeye players.
Correct. Tough-ass quarterback. Punch somebody on stage.
Joe Cap.
Go Cat.
We need to play better.
Mike Zimmer post-game press conference after a loss.
And after a win, but that's okay.
Jerseys, helmets, towels, drinking fountains, urinals, benches.
Locker room.
Zamberletti. Yeah,
Metrodome.
trainer. Final one. Percy Harvin, Cordell Patterson, Bill Brown, Clint Jones, Mo Williams, David Paul,
First round wide receiver picks.
Herschel Walker,
Kick returners.
Eddie Payton,
Kick returners. Yeah, kick returners.
From the
Special
SEC.
team aces.
Percy Harvin, Cordell Patterson.
Time's
Kick
up.
returners from the SEC.
Kick returners in half toward the touchdown. Each one of those guys has scored a touchdown, including Keith Nord.
Get out of here, Keith Nord.
Yeah, dude, I looked at you. We had like 13 or 15 guys that have returned at least one touchdown. And I didn't realize Harvin had 5.
Yeah, Harvin has 5, Patterson has 5, and Marcus Sherrills has 5. So they have the team lead.
You guys, but that was just strictly kickoff because I looked up returns.
Yeah.
We have an ass load of, if you had the punt returns in there, Vikings have pretty good. I was kind of surprised to see Mo Williams. I don't remember Mo Williams running back a kickoff for a touchdown.
I don't either.
No, me neither.
Well, database football. That's
Really
why I got.
returning kicks.
Yeah, he was on there. There's a bunch of people I didn't listen. Eddie Payton. Remember he was on the Lions for a while? Mm-hmm. He returned one.
Walter Payton's brother.
Yes. You guys did well, though. You got a lot of those right off the bat. The Zimmer one, they got that pretty quick.
Was Buster Rhymes on that list anywhere?
What?
Did Buster Rhymes ever have a kick return touchdown for the Vikings?
No, he did not.
His name, but I thought he was.
Buster Rhymes from Oklahoma, first-round pick, 1986, baby.
My God.
I was going to say, when I made the questions, I was going to say, what does Mike Zimmer say during the game? I was going to go, what the hell's wrong with my corners? And have just different things. I mean, what does he say on the sidelines? He probably looks and goes,
I think it's pretty telling that your first clue was I just wait for footballs to fly through me, and Ted and I both came up with Xavier Rhodes straight away.
That was great.
That was fantastic.
I thought you were limiting it to like just players and whatever. No, I think you like football equipment and shit like that.
Yeah, that was
things the goalpost would say, things you find in a locker room. That's kind of how $20,000 did.
Yeah, it was exactly.
It was.
That's good. Those are
That
good
was a
clues,
good show.
man.
We got to remember that for the future. Well,
Yeah, Mike changes up from the trivia a little bit, but that was fun. Thanks, guys.
Well, at this point, for our viewers, all the fans of Good Morning Gjallarhorn and Daily Norseman, we're going to bust this up into a 2-part show. The first one you get on Saturday, because GMG, instead of Sunday morning, is moving up to Saturday. And the second part will be Monday morning in our normal tradition spot where we have In the Raw, which we all are going to miss because we don't have a game this week, which is wonderful. So, any last words before we go to end part 1 there, Chris?
If part 2 is Good Morning Gjallarhorn After Dark, I'm going to need a couple more drinks before we get started here, I think. But no, like I said, this is going to be great. I mean, we're in the bye, 8-3. We can't really argue too much with that. And we're going to have to see how the rest of it goes from here.
Drew?
Meow, meow, Viking cow. I'll see you at show 2 on the flip-flop.
Ted?
Super Bowl homeboy. We'll see you in Miami.
Yeah.
Go, everybody. Enjoy your
Light that
weekend.
candle, Charlie Daniels, light it.
Stay safe. Enjoy good food, good beverage, good friends, always.